Hey guys, it's our last class for aerobics. Today what we're going to be doing is I'm going to walk you through your fitness testing, and then I'm going to go over the whole final study guide so that you are ready to take that final exam. And the final exam is open on Canvas starting today, Tuesday, and it will be open through Thursday, okay, through Thursday at midnight. So sometime between today and Thursday, you need to take it. You can use your time Thursday that you would have spent doing your workout for this class and take the final exam, or you can just go ahead and take the final exam right after you do the final review with me so everything's fresh in your mind. It should be easy peasy because I'm going to try and give you all the answers today, okay? So before we start that final exam, let's talk about fitness testing. So for fitness testing, I have the fitness testing you did at the beginning of the semester. So I have that, and what I need you to do is you're going to some point today find a place that you can run/walk for 12 minutes, just like we did at the beginning of the semester, and that you can measure your distance. So maybe you have a treadmill available to you somewhere. Maybe you need to drive to a track, whether it could be any track, like a junior high track, or you could drive over to the UVU track if you need to, but you need to be able to measure your distance, okay? So then you're gonna send me an email, and I'll put this in the email, with your distance for your 12-minute walk or run. We're gonna skip the flexibility testing because I know that you can all pretty much do the flexibility testing. And then we have sit-ups and push-ups. I'm going to show you really quick your form on those. Okay, so for push-ups, if you're doing full plank, and I don't know if you can remember whether you did full plank or modified plank at the beginning of the semester, but ideally you will either do the same or you'll increase. So if you did modified plank, maybe you'll be able to do full plank now. We'll see. So we're going to get onto our mat, full plank, push-up, nice straight line, elbows out to the side, we reach with our chin. And you're going to do as many as you can with good form, okay? If you're taking it from your knees, still get that straight line from the top of your head down to your knees, and you still reach with your chin. Keep that body nice and flat. For sit-ups, are the crunches we did. We were on our back, hands extended, and then we're just lifting those shoulder blades up so that our fingertips move about 3 inches, okay? So for sit-ups, it's 1 minute, so you time yourself for 1 minute. How many crunches can you do in 1 minute? For push-ups, it's as many as you can do to fatigue, okay? So those 3 things are your fitness testing, and I'll just have you send me that in an email, okay? And that's all, easy peasy, right? And now we're going to go over the final. So if you have your study guide, pull it up on your computer or print it off, whatever's easier for you. Feel free to take notes of what I'm saying. And you are free and encouraged to use this study guide on the test when you take the test. Okay? I don't want this to be a stressful class for you academically. I just want this class to be a feel-good, blessing in your life, okay? And hopefully you learn some things too. All right, we're starting with chapter 1. So get out that study guide. According to your text, what does the total physical fitness journey require? There are 6 things, and you're going to look for this one on a multiple choice. So real quick, the test setup is there are 11 questions, true, false. There are then 9 questions, multiple choice. Then there are 5 matching. Then you've got another 12 true, false. Then you've got more multiple choice, and then the last 5 are back to matching. Okay? So true, false, multiple choice, matching. All right, back to chapter 1. The total physical fitness journey requires these 6 things: making a commitment to fitness, seeking valid information, establishing starting points, setting reasonable and challenging goals, monitoring daily progress, and making self-disciplined choices continually. You'll look for that in a multiple choice, and it's probably going to be a all of the above situation. It's my gut feeling. Usually when there's a list like that, yeah. Yep. Okay. Next, name and define the 5 basic elements of physical fitness. You have aerobic fitness, flexibility, and flexibility is defined as the functional range of motion of a given joint and its corresponding muscle groups. Okay. And muscular strength and muscular endurance is the 3rd element of physical fitness. Definition of muscular strength you also will need to know. That is, muscular strength is the ability of a muscle to exert a force against a resistance. Okay. Good posture is an element of physical fitness, and body composition is an element of physical fitness. Again, watch for this one in a multiple choice, okay? Define the term aerobic. Aerobic means promoting the supply and use of oxygen. So when we're doing aerobic exercise, it's exercise that requires oxygen, that we're breathing. It's going to increase the amount of oxygen we are using, that we're breathing harder. Okay, that's aerobic. The basis of true fitness, question 4, is the condition of the heart, blood vessel, and lungs. So your aerobic capacity is the best single measure of overall physical fitness. So that's a really good, I think, way to think about fitness and to measure yourself. Too often we get kind of stuck in this idea that the skinnier I am, the more fit I am, or like that is the end goal. But really, a better measure to say, am I really healthy is, can I run up that flight of stairs without totally losing my breath? Because that is a lot more accurately measuring your fitness level than how skinny you are. So skinny, the goal isn't skinny. The goal is to be fit, to be healthy. So pay more attention to your aerobic capacity. Pay attention to how hard you have to breathe to get through a workout or to go up the stairs, and make that your measure of success, okay? The FIT formula is number 5, so F-I-T. F stands for frequency. So we want to be working out at least 3 times per week, and every other day, if we're going to do 3 times per week, and a maximum of 5 days a week. So if you're working out 7 days a week, that's too much. Your body needs rest time to actually retain the benefits of the exercise and to make exercise nourishing and strengthening instead of depleting. If we're exercising intensely 7 days a week, our body never has time to recover, and we're actually depleting our body instead of strengthening it. So you want to be in that moderate space of 3 to 5 times per week. Intensity is the I. Intensity, you want to be at 65 to 90% of your maximum heart rate, or 50 to 85% of your VO2 max, according to the fitness level. Okay, those 2 stats I think you're going to want to be familiar with for the test. So 65 to 90% of maximum heart rate, or 50 to 85% of VO2 max. And then T is time. So each session that you would count should be between 20 and 60 minutes long. 30 minutes for most activities, and then that would vary according to your intensity level, right? So if you're doing a really intense workout, it might be a shorter session. If you're like going for a walk, a brisk walk, you might be able to do that longer than 60 minutes. But generally speaking, 20 to 60 minutes is the recommendation for the T on time of the FIT principle, okay? All right, the methods of monitoring your target heart rate. There are 4: heart rate monitor, taking your pulse, the Borg scale for ratings of perceived exertion. That's like a scale of 1 to 10, saying I'm at a 10, I'm at a 4, I'm at a 6, depending on how exhausted you feel. And then talk test. Those are your 4 methods of monitoring your target heart rate. Talk test just means, can I talk during this activity? If I can talk, then that's telling me something about my intensity level. And then the last question for chapter 1 is, when should the resting heart rate be taken? And you guys should know this because you took your resting heart rate the beginning of the semester when we did the Carbonin worksheet to help us find our target heart rate. Our resting heart rate is the heart rate we take in the morning before we're out of bed, when we just wake up naturally. It's that heart rate, okay? So after hours of sleep when you're still in bed, that's your resting heart rate. Okay, that's chapter 1. Chapter 2. What is the driving force behind motivation? And I like this question because I think it's really actually important to understand this principle, not only for exercise, but for anything in your life that you really feel like you want to change. Moving towards pleasure-based results and away from painful ones are the driving forces behind motivation. So our brains, we are animals still, right? We have instincts, and our brains are going to always move us toward pleasure, like our survival system, our limbic brains, and want to move us away from pain. So why is that important? Well, with exercise, why is that important? Because the way we think about exercise can really determine whether that's which category we're putting exercise in for our brains. If we're putting exercise in the category of pain, then our limbic system, our subconscious mind, is never going to want to move us towards that. It's going to want to move us away from that. So the way we choose to think about and frame exercise in our mind has everything to do with whether or not we're going to be motivated to continue exercising. And that's been super true for me. I've come to see exercise, I view it as like my time for myself, something I look forward to. It kind of gives me like an emotional high for the day. And because of all of those, too, if you have kids, then exercise can be like kind of this break where you get to spend a little bit of time doing something for yourself when you feel like most of your day is spent taking care of everyone else. So it's just becomes this very positive thing in my life. So I'm super motivated to exercise. It really is something I like do all the time because I love it, not because I'm trying to do anything. It's just because it feels good. In my mind, it's become a source of pleasure in my life. And it's all about the way you think about it. I certainly was not always that way at all. I don't think I ran more than 1 mile complete until I was like over 20 years old. So I certainly was not always an athlete by any means, but exercise has become something in my life that has definitely become a source of pleasure, and something that I'm motivated to continue doing, not for any other extrinsic reason, but because it makes me feel good. So I want to keep doing it. So think about the way you think about exercise. If you think of it as punishment, as pain, as something you should do, don't should on yourself. You know, anything you put should before becomes something that you're going to be less motivated to do. So don't should on yourself. Instead, find things that are genuinely enjoyable to you about exercise, and you'll naturally want to move towards that. So try it out, okay? Number 2, goal-setting strategies that can create the future in advance. There's 3. I think this is also a multiple-choice question. Identify reasons you are choosing to change. Become aware of how you are motivated and how to change your actions at the sensory thought level. And 3, assess and reestablish your time priorities. So those are the steps to take towards moving towards change. That's good information for this class or for anything else you're doing in your life where you want to make a change, become something better than where you currently are at. Okay? All right, chapter 3, back to exercise. Signs of overexertion. This is a long list. You're looking for a multiple choice question that's giving you a long list, okay? Severe breathlessness, poor heart rate response, undue fatigue during exercise and inability to recover from a workout later in the day, insomnia, persistent or severe muscle soreness, not immediate, but that would appear 24 to 48 hours after exercise, nausea, faintness, dizziness, and then tightness or pain in the chest. Those are all signs of overexertion. How should you undertake a new exercise program? The answer to that is cautiously, and you increase the frequency, intensity, and duration. So frequency, intensity, time, that's your FIT principle. You increase those gradually. And if you think about our semester, we really do that. We begin the semester with, we'll do fitness testing for half the class, and then a little bit of a workout, and then we'll do lengthen the workout time, but still do some of the fitness testing. And then we'll start doing the workout, but I would break in between each song to give everyone like a breather before we do the next song. And then we work up to the point where we are working sustained through that entire class period with no breaks at all. So that is how you kind of introduce yourself into a new workout program gradually. All right, number 3, if you abandon your exercise program entirely, how long will it take to lose all of your fitness gains? The answer to that is 10 weeks. And I always bring this up with my classes because I usually have so many young women in my classes. I always say, so how long, who knows how long is a trimester of pregnancy? And a trimester of pregnancy is 13 weeks. So my shout out there, or my experience is that first trimester of pregnancy is typically the pits. You feel like, well, awful. For many pregnancies, my pregnancies, and everyone is different, so your body and keeping your body and your baby safe is your number one priority. But if you feel okay, most people, the second trimester is like a whole different thing. They feel good. I felt great in my second trimester. My first trimester felt awful, but I would still get up off my couch. I would go and I would teach my class. And I would come home and go back to my couch. My couch was still there waiting for me. And I'm so glad that I did that because if I would have just checked out of my first trimester and been like, yeah, free pass, I feel like crap, then I would have lost all my fitness gains. And then that second trimester would have come and I would have felt great, but my fitness level would be so much decreased. And then I'd have all that to make up after my pregnancy. Working out through my pregnancies actually was like so great for me. It made my recoveries so much easier because my first baby I didn't at all because I was worried about my baby. I didn't know my body yet, and that's okay to do too. To really be cautious, especially with that first one. But once I kind of knew my body and I knew kind of how it was likely to go, it was very beneficial for me to continue exercising throughout my pregnancy. For 3 of them, I taught Zumba like till the day I went into labor. So I definitely worked out through my pregnancies. You don't have to be that extreme, but just staying active, going for walks, things like that will be hugely helpful in your recovery if you ever get pregnant. Okay. The next question, why is it important to select the proper shoe? Because shoes help prevent injury and make exercise more comfortable. Probably the most important reason is they'll help you prevent injury. They are a legitimate way to keep your knees and your joints safe during exercise. All right, guidelines for fluid intake and maintaining water balance. These are 4. You're looking for another multiple choice list on this one. Drink plenty of liquids, at least 20 minutes before an aerobic session. Frequent small intake of fluid throughout the day is best. It's awesome to carry around a water bottle and just be drinking out of that thing all day. 2, pay attention to the amount of sweat loss, the room temperature, and humidity so that you're aware of kind of how much fluid you're losing. The more you sweat, the more you're going to need to replace those fluids. 3, after a session, drink 16 to 24 ounces of water or an electrolyte. And then 4, dilute sports beverages with water to decrease the sugar concentration. Okay, that's your list. All right, 8, name the common injuries and conditions and their causes. This is going to be a matching section, so let me just help make sure you know the right things to match to, okay? Blisters, you're going to match to caused by friction. Bunions, you're going to match to caused by inflammation of the joint. Muscle cramps, you're matching to caused by a fluid imbalance. So if you're getting a lot of muscle cramps, it might be that you're not drinking enough water. That's probably the first thing to go to. So if you get muscle cramps, it means get yourself some more water and be better about drinking water throughout the day and the days you're working out, okay? And then muscle soreness is caused by metabolic waste deposited on pain receptors. And that's actually a good sign, right? When we have moderate muscle soreness, it means we work that muscle's growing. There's metabolic waste there because we just tore down that muscle and it's going to build itself back up. That's how we get stronger, okay? And then the last one is shin splints, and that's caused by muscular imbalance. And I don't know if I had talked to you about that, but shin splints are caused, so we have these big calf muscles, right? They're these big muscles. So this muscle right here is usually not as strong, or it's weaker, so there's a muscular imbalance there because we have this big old calf, and then this is weak. So then that's why we get a shin splint. So one of the best ways you can prevent shin splints, if you're prone to those, most people have had shin splints at some point. If you're prone to those, this is so silly, but just doing a tap, do you see how I'm tapping out my foot? I'm lifting my foot. That lifting my foot is activating this muscle, and that will strengthen that muscle and create a better balance so that this part of my muscle is strong like this part, and I won't get shin splints. So even if you're just standing around, tap that foot side to side. And that's something, just a small little thing, small little easy exercise that will help you avoid shin splints. Okay? All right. Best treatment for muscle strains or sprains is RICE. It's the RICE formula. That stands for rest, ice, compress, elevate. Okay? And the most common injury to new participants in aerobics is shin splints, just like we just talked about. All right, that's chapter 3. We're on to chapter 4. Only 2 questions for chapter 4. We says to develop and maintain good posture, muscles have to be, this is 3, you're looking for a multiple choice question that's going to give you a list again. Strong, relaxed, and flexible. Muscles should be strong, relaxed, and flexible. Okay? And then what is the correct technique for heavy lifting? We stabilize the back, we lift with the legs, okay? So we're not lifting by bending our back so that all the spine is bending and extending, because that is way more increase for injury. So you keep your back nice and flat and straight, you bend down with your legs, and you use these the biggest muscles in your body, right? Your glutes and your legs, that's what's doing the lifting, not your spine. Okay, chapter 5. What is the purpose of the initial pre-course fitness assessment? That is to establish a baseline of information against which later changes can be compared. And it also helps you know if you're healthy enough to take the class, to do the exercise program, okay? So that was the fitness testing we did at the beginning. You're just gonna finish your fitness testing for the end of the semester. Hopefully you'll be able to see that you've gotten stronger. Even with all of this craziness, maybe you've still gotten stronger, hopefully. All right, chapter 6, static stretching. What does static stretching involve? It involves stretching the muscle to the point of limitation, holding for 15 seconds, and that involves all of our muscles from head to toe, okay? That will be on the test. When should static stretching be done? It should be done when muscles are warm. So at least after a warm-up, and probably most effectively at the end of a workout. If you're working to increase your flexibility, you have to have warm muscles. So at the end of your cardio workouts, or jump on to my Pilates workouts on my YouTube channel. Pilates and yoga are like the best way to be consistently increasing your flexibility, because so much about the workout, even though they're both going to strengthen and tone your body, they're also, the entire workout is also increasing your flexibility. Your muscles are warm, and you're going to get the best flexibility benefits from that type of a full body workout, where the whole hour you're really spending working on flexibility at the same time that you're working on other things, on toning. It's awesome. I love Pilates. Shout out for Pilates. All right, chapter 7, high impact aerobics. And high impact aerobics means both your feet are off the ground at the same time. So which of our formats are high impact and which are low impact? You know what? It really just depends on how you're doing those workouts. Zumba can be high impact, Zumba can be low impact. Strong is definitely high impact, but you can modify it and keep it low impact. The whole impact is not intensity, and that question is coming up. There's a difference between impact and intensity. So low impact doesn't mean you're not intensely working out. It means that you're keeping one foot on the ground. So if you had knee or joint issues or hip issues or back issues where that impact is going to injure you, or just your body doesn't like the impact, you can still do a great high-intensity workout and keep it low impact, which means you're keeping one foot on the ground all the time. You're never jumping around. That's going to definitely decrease your risk of injury if you keep a workout low impact. I just love jumping around, so I do a lot of high impact. Okay, some examples of basic movements that are considered high impact would be jogging, hopping, and jumping. Those three things look for on the test. Those are all high impact. As you can think about jogging, think about hopping and jumping. There's times where both feet are off the ground, high impact. And then we already talked about the difference between low impact and low intensity. Low impact just means you always have a foot on the ground. Low intensity means your heart rate's lower, right? Okay, the unique feature of a combination aerobic approach to exercise, which is basically what this class is, and that is that different participants can work to their own fitness level at the same time. So we had a whole classroom full of people in different situations at different fitness levels, and everyone was able to do the same workout and get a workout that pushed them to the best of their own ability. And that's what's awesome about group exercise is it's like you have that personal trainer who's pushing you harder than if you're working out at home by yourself, especially even without a video or anything. You tend to work a lot harder, and because someone else is pushing you, they're pushing you, but yet you can work and push yourself to your best ability, and someone over there might be jumping around, and their best ability might be something totally different than yours. You're both getting that workout together. And then last, how many calories per minute can a person burn during doing aerobics? And the answer to that is 12 calories a minute. Obviously, that's going to be totally different based on each person's body weight, each person's muscle mass, whether they're a boy or a girl will make a difference in calorie burn. How hard you're working obviously is going to make a huge difference. So that's a very generic number, but on the test, you're looking for 12 calories per minute, okay? All right, Chapter 8, we only have one question on this. The key advantage to a step training program over other aerobic options is that it's step aerobics, which we got to do twice, and maybe I'll put a video up of step aerobics, although I'm sure most of you don't have a step, but you might be able to figure something out to do that, because I know you guys like to step. The advantage to step is that it's low impact because you always have a foot on the bench or the floor, but it's high intensity because we're stepping up and down and up and down and up and down. So we really get a good high intensity workout, but we keep it low impact. All right, Chapter 9. How many times longer does it take to get the same aerobic benefits from walking as compared to running? And that is 3 times as long. Okay, so I have some friends that we go walking like 2 or 3 times a week together, and they walk fast. I'm like dying to keep up with them because I have short little stubby legs. But we walk for a little over an hour 3 times a week. So my hour-long walk is the same aerobic benefit as if I went for a 20-minute run, okay? So it still definitely counts in my workout overall picture. I can definitely count walking towards my overall fitness routine. Just know that the aerobic benefit is 3 times walking. You have to do 3 times as much walking as you would if you were running, okay? And the difference in time per mile between walking, jogging, and running, according to your textbook. So if you're doing more than 14-minute mile, then you're walking. If you're doing a 9 to 12-minute mile, you're jogging. And if you're doing less than 9-minute mile, you're running. Okay? That's just kind of random information, but it can kind of help you gauge yourself, maybe push yourself, if you're right on the edge there, to say, okay, I'm going to push myself a little bit faster so I can say that I'm running, you know, or jogging versus walking. All right, and the most popular cardiovascular exercise machine for low-impact exercise is the elliptical, and I love the elliptical. For my first pregnancy where I did not teach classes, I use the elliptical all the time. And it's such a good exercise piece of equipment for anyone who has joint issues, or when you're pregnant and you don't want to be bouncing around that belly, that baby. The elliptical is a smooth ride, but you're still getting the cardio benefits of running. So check out the elliptical if you've never tried it. All right, chapter 10. We're moving right along. What is the connection between strength training and bone density? Strength training slows bone loss. Why is that important? Because for women, osteoporosis is a huge, huge issue. So if you're a woman, then when you're getting older, like me, I do way more strength training now than I did, I guess, like 20 years ago. That makes me feel really old. But I hardly did any strength training then. I was not interested. But now strength training is like 50% of what I do, probably. So it's strength training not only helps us maintain our metabolism and our shape as we get older, but it also slows bone loss, which protects us from osteoporosis, which is huge for women, huge. So the older you get, the more you have to think about strength training and the more benefit you will see from strength training. You'll be more motivated to do strength training as you get older because you'll see the benefit in the shape of your body as you get older and things change. You need a little more help keeping the shape of things. All right, number 2 is how often should strength training of isolated muscle groups be performed? And that's every other day. So I think we've talked about this, but when we lift, what we're doing is we're breaking down the muscle. We're breaking that muscle down. We're creating damage in the muscle. So that's what we're doing on the workout day. The next day is our rest day. On that rest day is when our body is rebuilding that muscle and actually making it stronger. So our rest day is as important as our lifting day in strength training because one day we're breaking it down, the next day we're building it back up. If you skip your rest day, then your body never has the chance to rebuild that muscle and make it stronger. So it's kind of like pointless to be lifting because you're not actually becoming stronger. So remember that forever. You always need a day off in between when you're doing lifting. You could do arms on one day, legs on the next day. That's fine. But you don't want to ever do the same muscle group 2 days in a row. Okay, chapter 11. What can happen if you abruptly stop a highly strenuous activity session? The answer is blood can pool in your extremities. Yeah. 2, what are some of the results of blood pooling? Nausea, dizziness, and fainting. Okay, if you've ever, I know some of you have felt this in class, where all of a sudden you're just like, oh, and you need to go out and walk in the hall. So that can be blood pooling in the extremities. If you're working real intense and then you stop, or you're going down and then up, it just messes with your blood flow. Number 3, how long should a cool down last? 5 to 10 minutes. And flexibility training is a widely accepted means of reducing injury. Okay, and just think about for cool down. Think at the end of our class every time we do a kind of a cool down song. We do abs. We do a stretch. That's about 10 minutes right there, where we're taking that high heart rate and we're bringing it back down. Okay. All right, chapter 12. Define the term personal wellness, and I really like this definition. Your text says, personal wellness is your life in balance. And I love that. We've talked about balance a lot with this quarantine. I talk to my kids about balance pretty much every day. So I think balance is really so much of the key to personal wellness. And the 6 components of life balance and wellness are physical, emotional, social, spiritual, intellectual, and talent expression. Okay, you're looking for a multiple choice list on that one. All right, the last question in chapter 12 is, what is the most effective natural stress and reliever of stress and depression according to counseling professionals? And that is participation in a regular physical exercise program. And I love that. I love that information. I love how I've seen that in my own life. And I've talked about that a lot with you guys on these videos, that exercise and a regular exercise program, not sporadic, but to get into a routine is the best tool you guys have to fight stress and depression, which I think we're all more at risk for right now during this quarantine than maybe any, much more than at a regular normal time in our lives. So use that tool. It is the best tool that you have. It changes the chemicals in your brain. It changes the blood flow to your brain. One of the things I've learned that I think is so cool is if you've ever struggled with depression or a trauma or something where you keep reliving something, or you're so focused on something that's a negative thing, something maybe happened to you, or you had a horrible experience, or even with anxiety, it's something you're fearful or worried about in the future, and you just can't get out of that looping about that thing. If you go out and exercise to a certain intensity level, that exercise changes the blood flow in your brain, and your brain cannot keep feeding that loop. It disrupts that looping and gives you kind of this respite, this free slate. I've had that happen to me so many times when I've been going through something that was really traumatic. You're in that downward tailspin spiral, and then I'd go to class, I'd go work out, and it's like I left with like completely different mindset. I'm in a totally different mood, not to mention the endorphins that your body creates, which are going to be a natural high, but it took me out of the downward spiral. So there is really so much power in exercise for multiple reasons. The side benefit is that also your body's getting stronger and healthier, and you feel better and you look better. So you can feel good when you look in the mirror, you feel good about yourself. So there's so many benefits to your mental, emotional, spiritual well-being by using exercise as a tool to improve your well-being overall in your life. So I hope that you've felt that this semester. I hope even this quarantine has given you the opportunity to see the difference between the days that you work out and the days that you don't, and how that makes you feel, how you feel about yourself, how you feel about life. I hope that is a takeaway that you have from this class, because that is something that has hugely impacted my life in a positive way. So that's my soapbox. All right, chapter 13. This is we have 2 chapters left. We're almost done. Hold on, hang in there. Okay. A well-balanced diet, we're into diet nutrition, is one that contains which 6 basic nutrients? Look for multiple choice on this one. You got carbs, fats, proteins, vitamins, minerals, and water. Okay? Number 2, what percentage of the MyPlate symbol should represent our intake of fruits and vegetables at each meal? And that's half of our plate. Half of our plate should be fruits and vegetables. Number 3, what overarching concept do the dietary guidelines encompass? That is to focus on consuming nutrient-dense foods and beverages. So you want the most bang for your buck. So you want the most nutrients in with the least amount of calories. And that's nutrient-dense, okay? So like a handful of spinach has like a bazillion vitamins in it and like 30 calories, okay? So you have that super nutrient-dense. And then you have like a Krispy Kreme donut, which isn't horrible. It has maybe like 350 calories in it, but like 0 nutrients, okay? So it's not like we can never have a Krispy Kreme donut. I think every diet has room for a Krispy Kreme donut, certainly. What would life be like without a Krispy Kreme donut every now and then? But we just want to make our norm trying to get as much nutrient-dense foods as we can, okay? And then every now and then, we always have room for a treat. Always. No stress and no guilt about it. When we're eating well and when we're taking care of our body and when we're exercising, then we can have a treat every now and then and feel like this is just part of the joy of living. There's nothing negative associated with that treat at all, okay? All right. What is the best fluid for hydrating the body? It's water. It's not Diet Coke or Diet Dr. Pepper, both of which I have a problem with. My own little addiction, I think. Anyway, okay, moving on. From the selected points of interest from the dietary guidelines, be familiar with the following points. What should people do to attain and maintain a healthy weight, reduce their risk of chronic disease, and promote overall health? Consume fewer calories, make informed health choices, and be physically active. It's as simple as that. I'm trying not to get more of a soapbox because I can go really soapboxy on this stuff, but there's so much crap information out there that extreme diets, or if you eat this, like, just crazy stuff that's like, oh, well, the actual chemistry behind it will show you this, and if you eat this funky way. And what my perspective is, and the way I have chosen to live my life, and I feel like it has brought a lot of sanity to eating, is that if I just am moderate and consume fewer calories, make informed health food choices, and be physically active, that food becomes a non-issue. It doesn't have to be a stressful thing. It doesn't have to be something I'm writing down and tracking every calorie, which I did for years and years. And that just puts a stress and a pressure on life that doesn't have to be there. I've really come to trust and know that my body is built inherently with the capacity to know when it's full, to know when it's had enough, even to know what nutrients it needs. And it will crave, like broccoli, if I'm deficient in the vitamins, that I need from broccoli. And to trust my body, and to trust the deep knowing within myself, and not have to live with this pressure of meeting this criteria or making food a really stressful part of life. Food should be a really joyful part of life. It should be something that we can really enjoy, and it can be that we have to learn kind of how to manage it and be moderate with it. So I guess my soapbox is, don't buy into the crazy diets. They just will make you more crazy, and they might work for a while, but then they don't work anymore. And I've seen so many people do this with the diets. They mess up your metabolism. They mess with your head. So just learn to make good choices and be active and to be moderate, and you're going to be just fine. It's all going to come out in the wash. All right. How can a person maintain the same body weight? Same thing. Calories in equals calories out. Means you'll maintain the same body weight. So it's as simple as that. What is considered moderate consumption of alcoholic beverages for men and women? 1 drink a day for women is considered moderate. 2 drinks a day for men is considered moderate. And what is the most harmful type of dietary fat? That's trans fatty acids. Other kinds of fats can be really healthy for us and are essential nutrients. Fat is an essential nutrient in our body, but trans fatty acids are nasty and not good for us. So we don't want to have any of that. As little trans fatty acids as we can. All right. Be familiar with the list of problem eating behaviors from the text. Some of those included skipping meals, but overeating later at dinner or later in the day. We talked about that on the nutrition day. And be familiar with the list of solutions from your text. Some of those include doggy bag leftovers and bring them home. Follow your hunger cues. Like, that's what we were kind of just talking about. Like, learn how to be mindful enough to really know. Your body will tell you when you're hungry and when you're full. So learn to slow down and be mindful in your eating so that you can use your own body's cues to tell you what you need and when you've had enough. Decide what you want to eat by how you want to feel after you eat. This is especially a good idea when you go into like a restaurant, when restaurants are open, and like you smell the cheeseburger smells so good or something, but then you think, okay, if I get the cheeseburger and the fries, how am I going to feel? Versus maybe if I get the salad, which I also will really enjoy, how I feel after I eat the salad, you know, and think about it in terms of how you want to feel after this meal. That can help you make better choices too. And then read nutrition labels. Okay, chapter 14. This is our last one. We're almost done. Okay, be familiar with the differences between essential fat and storage fat. This is a matching section. So essential fat would be matched to 3% in men, 10 to 12% in women, and it's needed for normal physiological functioning. Then storage fat would be matched to stored in adipose tissue, found underneath skin and around organs. Okay, I think there might be one other thing. Yep, that's it. Okay. The secret to achieving weight maintenance is increase lean body weight, lose fat weight. So that's about our muscles. So the more muscles we have, the higher our metabolism is, because each pound of muscle burns about 75 calories a day. Each pound of fat on our body burns about 3 calories per day. So the more muscle we have on our body, the more our body's burning calories 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, not just during our workout, right? The more fat we have in our body, each pound of fat is only burning 3 calories a day to be there. So you can see how drastically putting on muscle weight will change your metabolism. In fact, that is the prime, and that's the next question. The primary control of your metabolism is your muscle mass. So putting on muscle, building that muscle is going to keep your metabolism high even as you age, and people are always complaining about their metabolism dropping. If you strength train and you do resistance training and you maintain that muscle on your body, you will not see your metabolism dive, okay, as you get older, because your muscle mass is the primary control of your metabolism. And then how long do you have to exercise at moderate intensity level to make significant changes in body fat? And that would be more than 30 minutes. So if you're looking to lose fat, which certainly not everybody needs to be losing fat, so that's only if you're in that situation where you really, for health reasons, need to lose fat. You want to be doing lower intensity workouts for longer periods of time. You want a long workout, and then you're going to get into the fat burning, okay? And then can you spot reduce? That means, spot reduce means, can I just lose my fat right here? I just want to lose this. Can I do sit-ups and that's going to help me lose that fat right there? No, it's not. You can't spot reduce. Your body is genetically predisposed to store fat in certain places. You probably could look back at your family and say, oh yeah, my family stores fat here and here and here. Like that's the first place people put on the weight, and that's the last place that the weight leaves. And that's just part of your genetics. So my soapbox on that is to do your best and then learn to love and appreciate your body and give it props for everything that it does for you, because it is an amazing, amazing vehicle through which you'll experience this life. So treat it with respect and gratitude and love, because it carries everything for you. So, last one, calories. A healthy rate of weight loss is to lose 1 pound of body fat per week, which translates to a total caloric deficit of 3,500 calories. Okay, 1 pound is 3,500 calories. So if you have a caloric deficit of 500 calories every day, that should mean that you're losing 1 pound a week. Okay? All right, that's it. That is it. We're going to be done right about 50 minutes. That's about what it would take us in class too. All right, you're going to make sure that you email me the number of push-ups you do, not being timed. You're going to tell me whether they were full plank or modified plank. You're going to time yourself for 1 minute doing crunches, and then you're going to find somewhere you can measure your distance and run 12 minutes. That's your fitness testing. And then you're going to log on and you're going to take the final exam, and then you'll be done. Yay! And also, please make sure you do the instructor evaluation. That's always so helpful for me. Okay? I have so appreciated teaching you guys this semester. This has been a wild ride, but I actually feel like it's been one of my favorite semesters because I feel like I've gotten to know you better through your emails than I would have gotten to know you even in class. So thank you so much for being a part of my life during this time and for giving me a reason to get out of bed in the morning. And I think about you often, and I will continue to think about you. And I'm happy. I'm going to keep posting videos every now and then, so keep coming back. If you want an accountability partner or something, I'm happy to do that for you. If you want to say, hey, I'm going to email you every week to say I did 3 workouts this week or whatever you want to do, I'm happy to help in any way that I can. Hang in there. I would love to see you guys again in the future. And keep taking things one day at a time. Find balance in your life and make the choices that are going to help you feel good about who you are. Okay, love you.